Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, and welcome back to another episode of Rednecks and Pigskins, Blood on the Gridiron for the 11th of November. Um, Minding Freedom is not going to be with us today. He's he's having equipment issues. His laptop broke, and a matter of fact, if you want to help him out with that, down in the description is a link for a GoFundMe that he set up to get himself a new laptop. So if you want to help him out with that, click the link. J Kid, I hope, is on the way, but is probably oversleeping. Not sure, haven't heard from him. So for the moment, we have me. So I've done this by myself before. We'll see if we can carry it through for today. Um, we'll just do the best that we can until either J Kid shows up or I get to it by myself. So first up, let's look at some news. The first news I wanted to cover may not mean anything to you, but it does to me as a Colts fan. First piece of news, it looks like Andrew Luck is supposedly in Europe to seek more therapy or more treatment upon his shoulder. If you remember, he had shoulder surgery back in January. It has not gone as well as was hoped. So, yeah, he's off in Europe. Now, what that means, we're not real sure. Could mean that, it could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. Might be a hint that things are maybe even a little worse than we thought. Yes, Monk, they did put him on IR. But hey, Corey, glad to see you, buddy. But this is a little bit of news that he's headed off to Europe to seek further treatment. The other thing is the Colts have released our Pro Bowl cornerback, Vontae Davis. If you were with us last week, you know that I said that they weren't that stupid. And then they go and release him. But let me justify that. Hi, MC. Let me justify that by, at the time, I didn't know all of everything that was going on. He has had an injury, a groin injury, going to have surgery this season ending, and they released him, which sounds bad on the surface until you look back at Sunday's game. Hey, Skeptalk. Sunday's game, he didn't even travel, and it was told it was for non-football reasons. As a Sil, if you think back to when we got Vontae, we got him from Miami, and the biggest reason Miami released him, he was having attitude issues with the coaching staff there. Some of the things that have been kind of coming out of late make it sound like he released a tweet. He released some information about Coach Pagano, saying that he was upset at the coach. Anyway, long story short, looks like he's starting to have those attitude problems again with us. So, yeah, they let us go. I don't think it was just because he was getting into it with the coach. I mean, anybody that follows the Colts knows that he's probably not going to be here after the end of the year. So they wouldn't get rid of a player just because he's not getting along with the coach. So I think there's a lot more there probably than would initially meet the eye. And honestly, it's not hurting us that bad. Vontae's not played up to what he has this year, whether it's because of attitude, whether it's because of injury, I don't know. But the people that are replacing him have been playing anyway this year, so I don't think this is hurting us, at least not this year, as much as one might think. Give me a second here. And we'll take a look at some of the injuries. Minding, I see you're out in the chat. Hey, Minding. Hey, Monk. Welcome to everybody. So I'll try to keep up with everything as best I can. Also, I'm sitting out in the front room, which I'm normally in the bedroom, so if the sound sounds a little off, that's the reason. And a bit of warning, you might get some coughing. There's been a cold going around this house, and I am not sure I'm not starting to get it. So, also, the Bengals have put Jeremy Hill on IR. That might be some effect to that team. Also, looks like the Cards quarterback Stanton for a knee injury could miss 1 to 2 games. Of course, the big news is that Sherman for the Seahawks is out for the year. That's probably a big effect for that team. And bear with me while I scroll through stuff. The Pats have put Hightower on season-ending IR. And the Bucks have shut down Jameis Winston for several weeks for his shoulder injury. And looking through the injury reports real quick like here. And that looks to be of anything of any real interest that I'm seeing. Hey, Minding, if you've of a mind to, pun not intended, you can get in here on the device you're using if you want to. Otherwise, I'll do the best I can. Yeah, J-Kid's not here. All right. So, since it's just me in here, I'm going to turn to the chat. Does anybody else have any bigger news in the NFL for that I haven't covered? Yeah, I think that's probably the way it's looking, Monk. And I mean, on Ryan Fitzpatrick not getting another shot. It's up to you, Minding. Yeah, the sound will be off a little bit, but up to you, buddy. Melissa, I'm just glad that you're here. I realize not everybody's into NFL. This is a stream I do every week through the NFL season. And and there's J-Kid.
Here I am.
Better late than never. Since you missed the first of it, I'll let you know. Minding is out, maybe out for a little bit. His laptop took a dump. So
just like the
he
Packers.
and he is out in chat at the moment. But that's about it. I've tried to cover some of the news. I've covered little bits and snippets, things that stood out to me. I didn't cover all the injuries and trades for sure.
Well, wasn't any trades. Deadlines passed, so don't have that.
Right. Of course, I did hit some of the bigger news. And for me as a Colts fan, what was bigger news for me? And that would be Luck heading out to Europe for more treatment and Vontae Davis being released.
Typical move for the Colts, letting Vontae go. He's lost a step. He's lost a step, yes. Still their best defensive player, and they let him walk.
I'm of a mind that I think there's a lot more going on there that's being said. Like I brought out to him before you got here. If they remember, we got him from Miami because he was having attitude issues in Miami. I am wondering if that isn't rearing its ugly head again here in Indianapolis. It just feels like it's got to be more than just him losing a step, whether for this injury to his groin or not. But
if that was the case, you'd think by now we'd have heard something, especially since we live in the area.
Yeah.
And nothing of the sort has come up. So
no, just a little bit of there was he kind of said some things that he was disappointed in the coach over not bringing him to the Texans game and not talking to him about certain things. But other than that, I did not cover Martellus Bennett in detail minding. No, I did not. I think I kind of glossed over it. Give me a sec here. Let me get a drink. I do remember seeing a report that he was going to try to play through a rotator cuff injury. Hey, next minutes. Hey, how you doing? He was going to try to play through the rotator cuff injury, but also that he had said some things about their doctor and medical staff that didn't quite set well with your quarterback. But from what I'm looking at, that's the last that was said. Go ahead, J-Kid.
I don't understand the whole New England picking him up off the waivers. There had to be something there that something tells me that nobody knew that he was hurt as badly as he was, except for his Green. And New England picked him up and immediately put him on the IR, and he's already expressed that this was going to be his last year.
Yeah.
Something there's not right.
Yeah. I don't know. No. But it does remind me of a slightly humorous story I seen as I was scrolling through the football stories for today, in that the GM for the 49ers had tried to pick up Brady early in the year, or at least inquired whether they would trade him Brady or not.
I mean, why not try?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to try.
Worth a shot.
And yes, Skeptalk, thank you. Please do hit the like button, share, all that good stuff, because you know YouTube's not going to help us out. So you're right, MC. Playing with a rotator cuff injury could be a really big mistake. Of course, if he's planning on this being his last year anyway, who knows? Excuse me. Here's that cough I warned you all of. All right. Is there any other news you can think of, J-Kid? Of course, you weren't here when I went through all of it, but...
No, Not that's coming to mind anyway.
Yeah, not a lot of big news this week, really.
Oh, did you already hit Richard Sherman?
Yes, I did hit
Okay.
Richard Sherman. Probably the biggest news out of all of them, I would think, with him
Yep.
being out. And so, if that's it for the news, let me back out of that and get into the scores. Bear with me. I try not to open too many windows because my poor old speaking of laptops, my poor old laptop might just crash on me if I keep too many open. So, um, let's go through the scores. So first up would be Buccaneers at Saints. Buccaneers 10, Saints 30.
I don't think this surprised any of us.
No.
I'm pretty sure we all called that this was going to be a big win for the Saints.
If I remember correctly, yes. Of course, minding out in the chat can correct us if we're wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we all picked the Saints. Buccaneers have just fell off severely this year.
Yep. All the way around, too. Offense, defense, nothing for the Bucs is looking good.
No.
And I really thought that they would compete for the division this year.
Coming into the season, I really did too. I really did too. All right, next up. Falcons at Panthers. Falcons 17, Panthers 20.
The only thing I saw in this game is now even Julio's not playing that well. Got it open in the end zone, drops a pass for the touchdown. Like it's spreading throughout Atlanta. They just don't really have anything going for them. And I haven't seen any stats on this game, but I'm assuming that Carolina probably still didn't have a run game.
Let's see. Rushing.
Eventually,
rushing. It looks like. You said Atlanta, whether they had a rushing game?
No, Carolina.
Let me scroll down.
Outside of Cam Newton, that is.
Yeah. Cam Newton had 86 yards, 9 attempts. Christian McCaffrey had 66 yards in 15. And you had a few more with some negligible yards after that. So, yeah. Once again, Cam was the running game.
66 for McCaffrey, though. That's better than they have been doing.
Yeah, it is.
And last week we was talking about, I thought he had set a record. It was a Carolina record that he had set for receptions. Not the rookie, not the NFL rookie record, but the team rookie record.
Ah. Gotcha.
I knew I saw something on that. I just couldn't remember what it was.
I knew going in that this would be a close game, and by the score, 17-20, it was. But I don't. It really could have went either way. I mean, let's be honest. Two mediocre teams right now. So shouldn't be a big shock either way.
Carolina's defense is carrying them right now.
Yeah.
They have the number one, surprisingly and quietly, the number one defense in the league as far as yardage goes.
Yardage allowed?
Yep.
Complete opposite of the Colts.
Well, they have a defense.
Yeah. Okay, next up, and I am sorry ahead of time, Corey, because I feel your pain. Rams 51, Giants 17.
Nobody's surprised by this, I don't think.
No.
And I don't even know what else to say about it. Like, we saw this coming, and it happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's no secret that the Giants is my second favorite team. It's Corey's favorite team as he lives there. But surprise, no. None whatsoever.
The only thing that'll surprise me about the Giants this year is if they don't fire McAdoo at the end of the season.
Uh, yeah, and I seen a story earlier that they're already looking at a college quarterback, and I forget which one. I've already turned my phone off, but um,
It's time.
yeah. Uh, although I'm of the mind that he he's probably not smart enough to just take this and go retire. He'll probably try to still play. Manning, that is. Who knows? Might surprise me.
I don't know. Even he has to notice that he's not playing well, and hasn't for some time. And
Yeah.
if he's not noticing, Peyton is, and you know Peyton's in his ear.
Oh, guarantee you, Big Brother. I will guarantee you that I'd like to sit in on some of the conversations in the Manning household right now.
Well, right now, like during the season, I highly doubt Peyton's saying much. Uh, but like off season, he's got to be like, "Hey, listen, you know, look at how you're playing. Maybe it's time."
Yeah. Well, maybe even Archie might even be getting into the conversation as well. Son.
Well, I don't know. Archie like those coattails.
That is true. That is true. Now, and that's not to say that we are at all taking anything away from the Rams. The Rams are a really good football team right now. And
Yeah, that's half why I'm not surprised.
yeah, and Giants just aren't. So no surprise there. Okay. Next up, we have Ravens at Titans. Ravens 20, Titans 23. Nothing real surprising there either.
Wait a minute. Wasn't I the only one to pick the Ravens in this game? Or the Titans in this game?
I don't remember. And Minding just said that he can't get at our picks from last week because they're on the laptop that crashed. So I honestly cannot remember.
I believe I was. Because I know Mining and I had this big discussion about Mallet being as good, if not better, than Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
I believe is what he was saying.
yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work out for him.
I honestly don't remember. If I did, I don't know what I was thinking, picking picking with Joe Flacco. I should be smacked. But yeah, I really don't remember.
It was really a game of two disappointing teams. Because I really thought both teams would be better than what they are this year.
Yeah.
Not to say that Tennessee's been bad, really, but they haven't been as good as I thought they would be this year.
Oh no, I really thought going in that this would be Mariota's year, and that they would be a powerhouse, not just in the AFC South, but I thought they'd be a good team this year. I mean, sometimes I think the blind school could win the AFC South, but uh, and they are still in it, absolutely still in. I mean, with the Texans and the shape they're in back into now, it's very much up to, believe it or not, the Titans and the Jaguars at this moment. So
I think all three teams still really. I I don't see one that clearly stands above the rest of them.
no.
I mean, obviously it's not going to be the Colts,
Oh, no.
but any of the other three teams could win that division. And sadly, one of those teams has to make the playoffs,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is sad to say for the Texans, because it's still it's a shame
It
because they were
is.
looking really really good.
It is. I mean, I was obviously being a Colts fan. You root against the other ones in your division. However, since it was so blatantly obvious the Colts weren't going to do anything this year, it was kind of hard not to root for the Texans, to at least go somewhere into the playoffs this year. And they could have. I honestly believe that. The kind of football they were playing, they could have.
Mm-hmm.
But not the case now. And but within this division, they're still in it. Yeah, I have to agree. But yeah, I do have to agree with MC. Unless their quarterback play picks up, Texans are probably the longer shot of the three.
Well, I mean, we'll talk more about the Texans in a little bit, but
Yeah. Next up, Bengals at Jags. Bengals 7, Jaguars 23.
again, I'm not surprised. The Jags are another team that's riding that defense.
Yeah. The only surprise to me is that they actually played that well at home. Because historically, the Jaguars are one of those teams that plays better away than they do at home. But
That is true, and we all did hit on that last week.
yeah,
All three of us basically said you don't bet on the Jags at home, but we all took the Jags, I do believe, just because the Bengals aren't that good on either side of the ball, really.
no, they're not. And the Colts really should have won their game against Cincinnati. Cincinnati beat us not because they were that much of a better team. It was just because we continually shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right.
But
And I don't have stats or anything, and unfortunately, I didn't get to watch a whole lot of games this weekend. But I don't know what happened to Cincinnati. If they lost people this year, or if they just stinking up the place. But you go from annually competing for that division to just completely dropping off after 1 year.
yeah. Well, let's look at the box scores real quick, see if it tells us anything. Well, they only scored once, obviously. That was in the second quarter. Andy Dalton, 10 of 18 for 136 yards. Nothing to write home to mama about. Oh, man. The rushing game was just not there. Joe Mixon, 13 carries for 31 yards. Andy Dalton tried 3 times for -1. Giovanni Bernard once for -1.
So the Jags just really all around shut them down.
Yeah. The Jaguars just overpowered them, is what it's looking like. And I'm with you. I did not get to see the game, but yeah, just outclassed by a much better defense.
Which is strange to say when we're talking about the Jags.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Hey, Jimmy Hats. Good to see you. Hey, English.
And they're another team that really is basically a quarterback away. They being Blake Bortles.
Monk asks if Joe Mixon slapped any of the cheerleaders. I don't think so, Monk. But you can never tell.
Here's my question for the Bengals: do they fire Marvin Lewis at the end of the season?
He's been there how many years? 20 something?
It's been a long while.
It's time. I honestly think it's time.
He's been on the hot seat, it seems like, for last 5, 6
Mm-hmm.
years.
Yeah, at least the last 5.
And they're playing this badly this year. I think Cincinnati's about to find a new coach.
Yeah, because they've got some talent on the team. That's what's mind-boggling. They've honestly got some talent on the team. Now, I'm not a big fan of the Red Rifle, but he's serviceable as a quarterback. He's not a terrible quarterback. He's just not a great one.
It doesn't sound like they have much faith in him either.
Yeah.
You're losing, or you lose by 16 and you only attempted 18 passes. When you're losing, that's usually when the quarterback takes over.
Monk says, I bet they could get Buddy Ryan pretty cheap. I think by this point, Buddy Ryan's probably wearing diapers. I don't know.
Oh, and before we move on,
Hmm?
I guess we can't really talk about this game and not mention the fight. Did you see that by chance?
Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Now that you bring, I had forgotten, but yes, I did. They broke in with it during the Colts game, as I recall.
As I first saw it, my initial thought on AJ Green, what are you doing? The guy still has a helmet on, and you're punching him in the head.
which
Moron.
which never ever made sense to me. Why are you throwing punches at somebody wearing a helmet? You're just going to hurt your hands.
At least Andre Johnson was smart about it. He ripped Cortland Finnegan's helmet off a few years ago when they got in that fight.
Yeah.
It was a nice little takedown by AJ. I'll give him that. But
Yeah, and with isn't AJ suspended now?
one of them got suspended one game. I don't remember if it was AJ or the DB.
I'm
One of
pretty
them
sure
got
it was.
suspended, and the other one didn't, got fined but didn't get suspended.
Pretty sure it was AJ. And that's not going to help their situation any at all.
He wasn't helping them anyway.
No, he was kind of a no-show. But yeah, I seen it. It was a pretty dumb fight to begin with, even beyond that.
I think it was just pure frustration from AJ's part.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Next up, Broncos 23 at the Eagles 51.
A little surprising. I'm not surprised that the Eagles won.
Right.
I'm surprised they dropped 51 on the no-fly zone.
Exactly. And that's the second game last week where a team scored 51 points because the Rams scored 51. But, yeah, I'm not surprised, like you said, I'm not surprised the Eagles won, but I'm a little surprised that they dropped 51 points on the Broncos.
And rather easily, too.
Right.
Alshon Jeffrey was just making Aqib Talib look ridiculous.
Yeah. You had Carson Wentz, 15 of 27 for 199 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. While not lights out, that's pretty respectable.
Mm-hmm.
You had Jay Ajayi, 8 carries for 77 yards.
In
Corey
his
Clement.
first game with the team.
Yeah, exactly. Corey Clement, 12 carries for 51 yards. Blount, 9 carries for 37. Wendell Smallwood, 5 for 25. I mean, the running game, it just didn't seem to matter who was in there.
Everybody contributed.
Yeah. And then let's see, looking at the Broncos, Osweiler, 19 of 38 for 208 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Ouch.
Yeah, that sounds right. It's
Yeah.
Osweiler.
Rushing, they had nothing. Devontae Booker, 6 carries for 21 yards. CJ Anderson, 9 carries for 13. Jamal Charles, 4 for 1.
When the first stat line is 6 for 21,
Mm-hmm.
that tells you really all you need to know. That's your leading rusher.
Yeah, exactly. Receiving, they had it together a little bit more. Demaryius Thomas, 8 receptions for 70 yards. Cody Latimer, 2 for 51. And so on down the line.
And that game really wasn't even as close as the score indicates, because at least one of those touchdowns came in garbage time.
Yeah. Yeah, they got 14 points in the fourth quarter. It doesn't look like they were ever really in the game whatsoever. First quarter was 3-17, favored the Eagles. Second quarter was 6-14. Third quarter 0-13, and then, like you said, in the fourth quarter they got some garbage points, 14-7.
The Eagles are making them look ridiculous. Wentz is playing really well. I mean, you got Ajayi with his first, not even there a week, and already putting up 70 yards. A lot of it came on one play, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm no Eagles fan, but I just like I do with Brady. You know, I hate the Patriots, and I can't stand Brady as a person, but I recognize his talent. You got to give a tip of the hat to the Eagles. They're playing good football this year, or at least right now. They seem to get better every week, and that's a sign of a good team.
as it stands, I would say that they are the best team in the NFL right now.
Uh, I'd be hard pressed to disagree with that. All right. Let's see here. Next. Yes, my Colts finally won one again. Colts 20, Texans 14.
Now, I can't see the chat,
Right.
but somebody told me last week that nobody in their right mind would pick the Colts in this game.
Yeah. I didn't pick the Colts, but it wasn't me that said that. It was a funny little German guy, as I recall.
And I picked the Colts anyway.
Yes, you did. Parts of it was a fun game to watch. And let's be clear here, the Colts still tried to give it away.
They did.
It came right down to the wire with the Texans on the what? The inside the 10-yard line. I can't remember the exact yard line. And fortunately for us, through a pit, or no, it was a fumble. It was a sack fumble, but they sure tried to give it away. But parts of it was a fun game to watch, and you can't talk about this game without talking about T.Y. Hilton's catch.
Very reminiscent of Marvin's catch.
Marvin's catch, exactly what I thought when I seen it. I mean, you got to give it to the guy to have the presence of mind to realize he was never touched. Although the Texans didn't realize he wasn't touched, they'd give up on the play and we're walking around, and he gets up and runs into the end zone for a touchdown.
Now, if you're that Houston DB, how do you not know you didn't touch him?
Maybe he was hoping for the replay. It was close. The one he jumped over, and my
Yeah,
gosh,
right.
what a move! What a move! He literally dives over him, does more or less a barrel roll, and gets up. The one I am more, and if I'm a Texan, the one I'd be more mad at was the second guy that ran past him within a foot. All he had to do was reach down, touch him, and he was
Yeah.
down. And he didn't.
I mean, I'm not going to be as mad at him, though, because from his perspective, it probably looked like the guy touched him.
Mm-hmm.
But the one he jumped over obviously knew he didn't get a hand on him because he'd have felt it.
Yeah, maybe he was dependent on the call being that he was touched, because it was very close, and it took him several replays to confirm that, yes, indeed, he did not touch him. But
Hey, you don't depend on that. You just touch the guy.
Right. Still, he gave up on the play. He should have got himself up off the ground, ran over and touched him. Because he did have that opportunity. Ty laid there for about half a second until he realized nobody was going to touch him, and then he took off and ran.
Yeah.
So, and it was good to see Ty back in the game. He'd been shut out for a couple of games there straight. I don't remember the exact stat, but we'll look here. Brissett had 20 of 30 for 308 yards, 2 TDs, and no interceptions. Much better game for him. Much better.
Yeah.
Ty had 5 receptions for 175 yards. And he was AFC Player of the Week this week too, wasn't he?
Yep.
As I recall, and deservedly so.
Yes, he was.
Jack Doyle had 8 for 63. Frank Gore had 3 for 26, and so on. The rushing game wasn't lighted on fire, but it was enough to keep them on their toes. 17. Frank Gore was 17 for 51. Marlon Mack was 9 for 29. Keep an eye on that Mack kid. He's explosive. And of course, Brissett had 2 runs for 12 yards. But, yeah.
The Colts, however, did allow another defensive touchdown.
They did. Absolutely.
So they got that kind of streak going for them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I was very clear about, they sure tried to give it back away. They tried real hard to give up that game. The second half of the game was like watching 2 teams that couldn't decide who wanted to lose more than the other. It was it was like, oh God. But it was another one of them games that they've done to me all year long. They kept me in it all the way down to the last, and then there's Texans on inside the 10-yard line. And I'm going, oh God. All right. Well, being a Colts fan, I have to grab mine while I can. So we'll move on. Redskins at Seahawks. Redskins 17, Seahawks 14. I'm a little surprised.
I am too. This one surprised me a bit.
Yeah. Redskins aren't necessarily a garbage team. They're certainly not the best team in the NFC or in their division. I figured it'd be slightly competitive, but to beat the Seahawks at home, that's tough, guys. That's tough.
Especially after the show when the Redskins had the week before against the Cowboys. I think that's what surprises me most about it.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins, 21 of 31 for 247 yards. That's no 2 TDs, but no interceptions either. He was getting them up and down the field. Rushing game, nothing to speak of for the Redskins.
They haven't really had a rushing game all year.
But they did get it done in the air, and they spread it around. Vernon Davis, 6 for 72. Josh Doctson, 3 for 59. Brian Quick, 3 for 49. Ryan Grant, 3 for 39, and so on.
I wasn't even aware Vernon Davis was still playing.
Yeah.
That's how little I've got to see this year.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But yeah, they were getting it done. And if you look at Russell Wilson's production, he had it really wasn't his fault. 24-45 for 297 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions though. Russell Wilson rushed for 10 carries for 77 yards, and he was their best rusher by a long shot. So, yeah, not much there.
That tells you the difference in the Seahawks. 45 attempts for Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
That team's usually about the ground and pound.
Yep.
And now he's having to throw the ball 45 times and they still lose.
Yep. It tells you 2 things in my mind. One, they have no faith in their running game, which also in itself tells you they have no faith in their O-line. So,
well, I mean, you'd have to have an O-line before you had faith in one.
yeah, but who do you think is worse, theirs or the Colts?
Oh, theirs for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad?
Yep. They really don't have one.
All right. Next up, Cardinals 20, 49ers 10. Yeah, no surprises there.
I'm a little disappointed.
I imagine you are. The only upside is that Cleveland didn't lose another one, but that's because I don't think they played.
But it is Cleveland. Even they can lose on the bye week.
Yeah. So yeah, not a whole lot to talk about there.
I will hit 2 points. Number one, I did pick the 49ers, and of course they didn't lose, or they didn't win.
Right.
And stat wise, Minding was correct in his pick. He did say he thought Adrian Peterson would be enough to pull him out of it, and he had a pretty good game.
Let's see here. Cardinals rush Adrian Peterson, 37 attempts for 159 yards. Good game.
Yeah, and Minding did call that. So
yeah, we'll give him props when props are due. Let's see. Drew Stanton, 15 of 30 for 201 yards, 2 touchdowns for 1 interception. Again, nothing to write mom about, but it's solid.
It is when you're Drew Stanton.
Yeah. On the other side, 49ers, CJ Beathard, 24 of 51 attempts. My gosh. 51 attempts? Really? For 294 yards, 0 TDs, and an interception. My goodness. Of course, looking at their rushing attack, I can see why.
Yeah, it's another team that doesn't really have a run game.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, goodness. Carlos Hyde, but I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, didn't show up.
Hasn't all year. And I'm kind of surprised that Garoppolo didn't play this game.
Well, do they have him actually nailed down yet? I've been seeing some rumors that they don't have him actually nailed down as of yet. I don't know how true that is. Just rumors.
I mean, they made the trade, so he's on the team.
Yeah. If that's the case, I'm kind of surprised. Yes, he's probably not going to know the system as well, but come on, sure couldn't hurt.
He's going to be better than what you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Next up, Chiefs at Cowboys. Chiefs 17, Cowboys 28. And I must say, I'm a bit surprised.
I think the only one not surprised by this was Minding.
Yeah,
This is another game he called.
he did. He did. We'll give him props.
After flip-flopping about how they're not going to win or lose another game until they face the Raiders. Or
Yeah.
was it Denver? Whoever. He wavered, but he called it.
Yeah, he did. It's not just a shock to me that they lost, but the score is a little surprising to me. Yes, I know they were playing in Jerry World and all that, but 17-28. Open up the box scores here. And just looks like it was a case of the Cowboys just being consistent. Their score was one touchdown each quarter. They done just what they had to do to win the game. Kansas City looked like they had a fairly decent second and third quarter, but nothing in the first and fourth. Alex Smith, 25 of 34 for 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception.
Oh, he finally threw a pick.
Yeah. A little bit out of character for him.
It's the first one of the season, I do believe.
I think you're right. Another one where the rushing game just wasn't there, which is surprising with that running back they had. But Kareem Hunt had 9 carries for 37 yards.
I mean, it's not really surprising that he didn't have the yards because he is a rookie. It's just surprising that he didn't have them against the Cowboys.
Right. I'm surprised he didn't get a few more attempts. Just 9?
I mean, if they didn't do anything in the first quarter, then that means they fell behind. So
yeah.
And that defense giving up 28 points.
Yeah. And receiving, they done much better. Travis Kelce, rather. Sorry, I'm sitting in my front room. I'm a long way from where my laptop is, so it's hard for me to see it. 7 receptions for 73 yards. Tyreek Hill, 2 for 64. D'Anthony Thomas, 3 for 41, and so on. Looks like he done what Alex Smith always does and spread it around pretty good. Look at the Cowboys. Prescott, 21 of 33 for 249 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions. Ooh. Ezekiel Elliott, 27 carries for 93 yards. Good game for him.
Took you 27 carries to get 93 yards?
Yeah. It's only a 3.4 average, but he also had a touchdown. They had Terrence Williams, 9 receptions for 141 yards. Des Bryant, only 6 for 73. Still decent, but I guess you get kind of conditioned to expect a little more than that out of Des.
No, I'm surprised he caught any at all. He's got bricks for hands. Anytime he catches the ball, I'm surprised. Did you cover that in the news, by the way?
What's that?
Zeke being out again?
No, I did not.
So the emergency injunction that had reversed the decision last week, or at least put it on hold, was denied this week. So his suspension is back on starting this week. So he will be out the next 6 games.
Wow. Well, unless they start flip-flopping again. I mean, this story has been all over the place. He's not playing. He is playing. He's not playing. He is playing. It's just crazy.
It is crazy, but I don't think they have much time to change anything now. So I think it's finally settled. He's out for the next 6 games.
Yeah. And
In a thing I don't think ever should have taken place anyway, because they had no evidence on whatever the allegation was anyhow.
right. I just wished, regardless of which stance they took, they would have took a much firmer stance to begin with.
Yeah.
Instead of all this back and forth stuff. Doesn't look good on the NFL when they do that, in my opinion.
It's got to be bad for Zeke, too. Like, I kind of feel bad for that guy.
Yep, I do too.
You're playing. Oh, wait. No, you're not playing. Oh, yeah, you're playing. Like, you deal with that the entire season up to this point. Because it was supposed to, if I remember correctly, it was supposed to start off at the beginning of the season. And now we're going into, what, week 9?
Yep. You're right.
It's got to take a toll on you.
Alrighty. Next up, we have Raiders at Dolphins. Raiders 27, Dolphins 24.
The final score surprises me a little, but not that the Raiders won.
Right. Me too. I didn't expect it to be this close of a game. I really didn't. Look at the box score, see if we can maybe see why. When we had Derek Carr, 21 of 30 for 300 yards, 1 TD, but also 1 interception. Rushing was, you had Marshawn Lynch, 14 carries for 57 yards. Yeah, not on fire, but given some of the games we've looked at, not, it's enough to sell the play action.
That's pretty standard for Marshawn, really.
Yeah.
He's a run between the tackles, run over the defense kind of. So his yards isn't going to be spectacular most of the time.
And let me get that out of my way. Somebody else's live streaming. Okay. Jared Cook, 8 receptions for 126 yards. It's a good day for him. Amari Cooper, 4 for 58. Johnny Holton, 1 for 44, and so on. Looks like he spread it out fairly well. And let's take a look at the Dolphins. Jay Cutler, 34 of 42 for 311 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a little shocking.
That's very accurate for Jay Cutler.
No kidding. Rushing, Kenyon Drake, 9 carries for 69 yards. It's the only one to really speak of.
I don't even know who that is.
I don't either. Receiving, Julius Thomas, 6 for 84. Devontae Parker, 5 for 76. Damian Williams, 6 for 47, and so on.
34 of 42.
Yeah. Which begs the question, knowing Mr. Crybaby as we do, where was the Raiders' defense?
What defense?
Exactly.
I mean, they really haven't had one all year.
Yeah.
Their secondary is terrible. But even being terrible.
Exactly. Jay Cutler, 34 42. Yeah. Come on.
And those 8 incompletions aren't interceptions.
Yeah.
I I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I guess Jay Cutler's not getting the Jay Cutler Award this week.
Well, I guess nobody is since mining's not in. But if we were, it wouldn't be Jay Cutler this week. I'm gonna miss that. I actually like that intro of his.
Yeah, I love that jingle.
Okay, and that brings us to the Monday game, which you're gonna have a little more interest in, and minding a little less interest in. Lions 30 at the Packers 17.
See, this is where the laptop crashing kind of falls apart for me.
Oh.
Like, I knew all week leading up to this stream that mining was not going to show.
In the chat, he's saying week 10. Like, move along. Move on.
And
Ouch.
it wasn't even as close as the final score says it was, because they scored a touchdown with like 30 seconds left in the game.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. Well, let's look. Let me get away from chat here and look at the box scores a little bit.
Now,
Matt.
as we go into this box score, hang on a second.
Okay.
As we go in here now, I did say last week that mining better hope that the Lions lost this game, because he was talking a lot of mad crap last week, and I sat here and I took it.
Yeah.
I didn't say a word, and he said that is it Henley, whatever the guy's name is, the quarterback for the Packers, was going to come out this week, show his true potential, throw for 300 yards, probably 3 touchdowns. What exactly did he do last week?
26 of 38 for 245, 0 touchdowns. No interceptions, however, either.
And a lot of that came on the last drive of the game with like a minute and a half left.
Yeah, I mean, the only real points they scored was in the fourth quarter. They got 3 points in the second quarter, but other than that, it was 14 points in the fourth.
I almost feel bad.
Almost.
Almost. Like the one game this year that the Lions actually showed up.
Oh, Mindy saying in the chat that the Week 10 comment was in regards to Ezekiel Elliott. Not to us.
That's when it's supposed to start.
I don't know.
Because everything I read said it started this week, so I don't know.
We'll see. It takes about 30 seconds for us to catch up, or for chat to catch up what we're saying. So, back to the game. Matthew Stafford, 26 of 33 for 361 yards and 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Good game for Matthew.
It is for Matt. Well, I don't know. It could be a good game for the receivers, because Matt still kind of played like Matt plays and just throws the ball up there.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something there. We'll get to that in a second. Rushing, nothing to be fanatical about. Your top rusher was Amir Abdullah, 21 carries for 48 yards, and it falls off dramatically after that.
That's been the story since like '98.
Receiving, Golden Tate, 7 receptions for 113 yards. Marvin Jones Jr., 7 for 107 yards. Then it falls off to Theo Riddick, 4 for 62. And so on after that. But yeah, Tate and Jones both of them had great. And Marvin Jones had 2 TDs.
Good catches for those TDs too. They wasn't very well thrown balls, and the guy made the catch.
Yeah. Nice game for the Lions. Packers, let's see. Oh, my goodness. Rushing, Ty Montgomery was their top rusher, 5 carries for 33 yards. Brett Hundley, 4 for 22 yards. And then it just starts halving exponentially after that. Receiving, their top receiver, Randall Cobb, 5 receptions for 58 yards. Devontae Adams, 7 for 53, and so on. Doesn't look like a real good game all the way around for the Packers.
They came out and absolutely crapped the bed.
Yeah. It's sure looking like it.
And if this is the potential of Brett Hundley, y'all are in trouble, minding.
Yeah. I mean, you would think out of 245 yards, he'd at least have 1 touchdown in there, but
considering they don't have a run game, they're going to need touchdowns from Hundley.
Yeah, and it doesn't. If this is, I've not watched any Packer games this year. I will admit it. But if this is indicative of their run game here, yeah, he's going to have to be able to air it out. Anyway, is that enough pounding on minding for the minute?
For now.
For now. All right, that brings us to the Thursday game. Seahawks 22, Cardinals 16.
I didn't see this. I work Thursday nights. I don't get to see any Thursday night games.
Yeah.
More of what I expect from Seattle than what they did on Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Looks like they bounced back at least a little there.
And I mean, Arizona continues to play up or down to whoever they're playing, which they've done all season.
They have. I mean, they've done it with us. They have seen it do it with others. You know, they play down to bad teams. They play up to good teams, which unfortunately is not going to win you a lot of games.
Nope.
Let's see. Box score. Russell Wilson, 22 of 32 for 238 yards and 2 touchdowns. Respectable game. No interceptions. Rush game again was just not there. My gosh. Top rusher, Thomas Rawls, 10 carries for 27 yards.
Wow. I guess that's both indicative of their run game and of their offensive line, or lack thereof.
Right. Exactly. Receiving, you had Doug Baldwin, 5 receptions for 95 yards, and then it starts to half exponentially after that.
There was a lot of people coming into the season that thought Rawls was just going to have a spectacular season this year. And then against the Cardinals, which, I mean, I guess is a respectable defense.
Yeah.
They're not quite as good as they have been the last couple of seasons, but they're still pretty respectable. But to average 2.7 yards a carry for somebody who is supposed to have a breakout season, that's rough.
So the box score is showing the Seahawks getting 8 points in the second quarter. How do you get 8? Did they go for 2?
They got a safety.
Oh, got a safety. Two
Yes.
field goals and a safety, maybe?
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I believe, if I'm not wrong, which I could be, I think they also got a safety on Sunday. So they got a safety in each of their last 2 games.
Wow.
Which isn't something you see very often.
No, it isn't. But yeah, again, it doesn't look like the Cardinals were ever really in the game. 0 points in the first, 7 in the second, a field goal in the third, and 2 field goals, or they missed an extra point, 1 in the fourth. They got 6 points.
I mean, really, the only thing to note from this game is the loss of Richard Sherman.
Yeah, and that's as much as you know personally. You know, I do not like Richard Sherman. I do not like him as a person. I think he's a chump. I think he's a jerk. Don't like him. But it's another case of giving credit where credit's due. This is going to hurt the Seahawks, and we'll see just how much as the season progresses.
I think he's overrated, but he's really good.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that covers the scores for the week, so that gets us into, and we're staying about on time schedule here. That gets us into next week's games. And Minding did send me his picks for next week, so hold on, let me get that open. And there we are. All right. So, first up, we have Jets at Buccaneers.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a game of which team plays worse.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. I was thinking this is another game of which team wants to lose it worse than the other ones. Well, I'll tell you this. Minding has picked Tampa Bay.
I mean, I can't argue it.
And I'm going to have to agree with him on that one. I'm going to have to say probably Tampa Bay. But it really, gosh, it could really go either way. Goodness.
I don't like having to pick. I don't like having to pick either team, but I guess I agree with Tampa Bay.
Yeah. All right.
This sounds like a Thursday night game, honestly.
or a London game.
Yeah.
Sorry. Mrs. BW was talking to me there for a minute. All right. Next up, Saints at Bills.
Good offense versus good defense.
Yeah.
Saints are playing really well, though. I'm going to take the Saints.
They are. They certainly are. But I'm going to go against type. I think I'm going to pick the Bills. Let's see who Minding picked. He picked the Saints.
I'll be interested to see if New Orleans can keep up with their high-scoring ways against that Buffalo defense, who is still competing for that division in the AFC East.
Yep. All right. Oh, interesting. Next game, Browns at Lions.
Why is it interesting?
Because it's up to your boys to make sure they keep their record.
I mean, you and I can't pick the Browns here.
No. I know. I just thought, given the conversation that's gone on the entire season between you and I and Minding about the Lions keeping their 0-16 record.
I mean, I honestly would not be surprised. It is Jim Caldwell and Matt Stafford. They will try to find a way to lose this game, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, I'm picking the Lions for sure. I just thought that aspect of it was a little bit interesting. And looks like Minding agrees it's going to be the Lions.
Which I don't really like picking the Lions. Every time I pick them this year, they do lose. I don't know how I will feel about them losing.
To the Browns.
If they lost this week, I don't know how I would feel about that.
Probably a lot like Coach Mora. Playoffs! Okay. Next up. Bengals at Titans.
Titans.
Yeah. I don't think this one's going to take much thought, really. And let's see, scroll through here. And Minding is I overlooked it like 3 times. Minding is taking Tennessee as well.
Yeah, Bengals have shown absolutely nothing as to why we should pick them.
Right.
Like, if the Browns
No.
win a game this year, it's probably going to be against the Bengals.
That's actually one of those games that interstate rivalry or interstate whatever intrastate rivalry would be the correct word, I guess. That always ends up they do always play each other tough. Or
And they
it
both
seems
suck.
like, yeah, this year they do. Uh, all right. So next up, Packers at Bears. Oh, let me tell you this. Minding is picking the Bears.
Oh, abandoned ship. Man overboard.
We're finally getting him to see the light.
I mean, honestly, and not to just like pile on Minding here,
yeah,
but it took the Packers overtime to beat the Bears earlier in the season, and that was with Rodgers.
yeah,
They don't have Rodgers. I agree. I think the Bears are going to win this game.
yeah. I have to agree as well. Bears. The Packers remind me a lot of my Colts when Peyton played, or the good seasons we had with Luck. That without them, we don't have a team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next up, Chargers at Jags.
Well, Jags still have that defense. Chargers still have Phillip Rivers. Jags win this game.
Yeah. Um, Miney says, I gave them 3 games. They disappointed me, so of course I'm going to adjust. Is that what we call it? Adjusting? Oh, Miney, we love you, buddy. You know we do. Uh, and I'm with Monk. I hate to say it, but yeah, Jags. I mean, yes, there's that thing we've already talked about, the Jags not playing well at home, but they showed they can win at home. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the Jags. And let's see, Minding is also picking the Jags. All right.
Are we agreeing on everything?
So far, well, I went against you on the
Oh, Buffalo.
Buffalo game, Saints Bills.
Yep.
So far, I think you and Minding are in agreement, though.
Oh, that's got to change.
Next game, Vikings at Redskins, and isn't oh, doggone, my brain just went dead. The young
Just
yeah, shut up, shut up. The young quarterback for the Vikings.
Bridgewater.
Yeah, isn't he? I think I've seen that he's coming back. He is cleared to play.
I believe he was cleared to play. I'm not sure that he is playing.
Yeah. Um. Hmm.
Neither team's been impressive this year.
No. I mean, the Redskins have had their moments, but so has the Vikings. They've been like hot and cold. Um.
I'm gonna go Redskins.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. If for no other reason, home field advantage. Uh.
I'm looking at more like Case Keenum versus Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Oh, this is where we finally part ways. Minding is picking Minnesota.
Wow. So jump ship from Packers to Vikings?
Ah, all right. Oh, do I have to talk about the next one? Steelers at Colts. Well, let's see. We're down Vontae. T.Y. Hilton is actually questionable to play. I don't want to talk about this one. Yes, of course, the Steelers are going to win. Uh, even though
It's
they're
not.
one of those teams that don't play well away, it's the Colts.
It's not going to be pretty.
No, I don't expect it to be. Minding seems to agree. He's picking Pittsburgh as well.
I'd even go so far as to say Pittsburgh's probably going to win by 20 plus.
I can agree, but let me preface that. If TY doesn't play, yes. If he plays, it's going to be a little bit closer game, but we still lose.
I respect that, but I disagree. It doesn't matter if TY plays or not.
All right. Next, Texans at Rams. Wow, a couple of games ago, I would have said this would be a great game. Great game. But it's not a couple of weeks ago. And I'm going to have to pick the Rams.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams too.
I just don't see the Texans being able to create enough offense to keep up with that Rams scoring machine.
And they're still playing savage against the Rams defense when he couldn't do much against the Colts defense. Not a chance.
And let's see. And I'm probably overlooking it. Yeah, because no, wait a minute. I'm trying to look for Minding's pick, and I'm not. Minding, did you give me the pick on that game? Because oh, yep, now I see it. God, I told you I'm sitting too far away from the computer. He's picking the Rams. So, doggone.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Next. Oh, my goodness. Giants at 49ers. Oh, my goodness. If the 49ers win one, this could be it. But that doesn't mean that that's my pick. I'm still thinking on my pick. It's really a little hard to pick this one. Who's worse? Man, back in the 80s, this would have been a game. But time has moved on. Okay, I'm just going to go out on a limb because I really can't decide who's worse. And I'm just going to say the Giants finally win another game.
I'm taking the Niners.
And Minding. Minding's agreeing with me. He's saying the Giants.
Good. Usually when you two agree, I'm the one that's right.
You're right, Minding. I am an old man. Give me a break. I wear trifocals. And yes, you heard that right. I wear trifocals.
And they're still not good enough.
Yeah, I still can't see. Okay.
Quadfocal's a thing?
I don't think so. I think trifocals is the most you can go. There's not enough lens on the glass to go any further than that.
You might be the standard bearer for quadfocals.
Might be. Okay. Next up, Cowboys at Falcons.
I think regardless of whether Zeke plays or not, Cowboys win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to go Cowboys. Minding's also picking Dallas. Uh, no, I don't have a third eye. I have three lenses on each side. Minding. uh, and let's see. Next game. Woo! Might be a good game. Patriots at Broncos.
Did you see that defense last week? It's not gonna be a good game.
Uh, yeah, true.
There's trouble in the no-fly zone, and Brady's coming in.
Yeah, I
Patriots
think.
win.
Yeah, Patriots win. Um, yep. And Minding is picking New England as well. Let's see. Next.
Speaking of the Broncos, before we,
Yeah, yeah.
what happened to Von Miller? Is he still playing?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question because I sure haven't heard his name called at all.
Yeah, I've heard nothing for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I.
Somebody in chat, let us know.
Yeah. If somebody in chat can tell us whether Vaughn's even playing or not, because it sure don't seem like it. If he is, he's been quiet.
He'll give Brady a little bit of a fit, but just because New England's offensive line isn't that great this year.
Yeah.
But I still think Brady cars him up.
Yeah. The only hope that Denver might have is that New England's defense hasn't been that terrific this year either.
No, they haven't.
But look at who Denver has at quarterback. So,
It's either Simeon or Osweiler, and no choice is good.
yeah. uh all right. So, lost my place. Here we go. All right. And I already gave everybody's pick on that, didn't I? Boy, old man's memory. Next, the Monday night game, Dolphins at Panthers.
That's the Monday night game?
That is the Monday night game.
So we have 3 Thursday night games this week?
Pretty
I mean,
much.
4 really, if you add the Lions and Browns in there.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Jay Cutler versus the number 1 defense in the league. I'm taking the number 1 defense.
Yeah. I'm going Panthers. And so is Minding. No surprise there, really. Let's see. Monk says Von Miller has had 8 sacks this season and only 31 tackles.
I'm guessing those 8 sacks came within like the first 4 games, 5 games.
Must have.
So he must still be playing. He's just being really quiet.
Yeah. Maybe
Which
teams
is
are
not.
starting.
That's not what you need when your DBs are playing so poorly.
Yeah, and when you're about to face Brady,
Yep.
it sure isn't. All right. And so the Thursday night game actually looks a little more interesting than the other Thursday night games this week. Titans at Steelers. I didn't say a lot more interesting. I said a little more.
I mean, the Titans will put up more of a fight. than what the Steelers. Yeah, lucky for the Steelers, they get a squash match on Sunday.
Yeah. So they can rest up.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically a bye week.
Pretty much.
I'm taking Steelers over Titans.
Really?
You said that like you was surprised.
Well, I thought you'd pick Titans, but
no.
I'd like to pick Titans, but Mariota I think is still a little hobbled. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go Pittsburgh, and so is Minding, picking Pittsburgh as well.
It's kind of hard for us not to all agree on these games.
Yeah,
They're all kind of one-sided this week.
yeah. I think I disagreed. Was it on 2 with you guys?
I know you disagreed on Buffalo. He disagreed on the Minnesota game. And I disagreed on the Niners. But for the most part, we all agreed. Which isn't going to help our overall standings at all.
No, which is going to keep Minding in the lead, which he is so proud to tell us about.
Well, he's got nothing else to lean on this year.
Oh, you don't even know. Every time I show up in a live stream chat with him, I have to hear it. We love you, Minding.
What else does he have to lean on? Not the Packers.
Oh, that's cold. But apropos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's it for the scores. We kind of blew through them in a hurry.
Crap games.
Crap games, and it does go quicker when Mining's not here for us to pick on personally,
or to do all the talking.
Yeah, it's a whole lot funner to give him crap in person than through chat.
It's a 2-hour stream, an hour and a half of it's Minding.
Okay, so chat, since we've got lots of time left, and I don't expect that we'll fill the next 25 minutes, but is there anything that you want to talk about football-wise before we get out of here?
I think I'm going to have to revisit our first episode sometime this week.
What's that?
See about our division picks and where we're standing, how it's looking.
Oh, yeah, I forgot we even done that.
I believe it was the first episode. Might have been the second.
Yeah. I forgot we'd even done that. You're right. Someone's got to carry this show, Minding says. I tried to get him in here on his tablet, but he said he didn't want to because his sound would be crap. But.
That's different.
Well, I did remind him that you're on your phone, so.
I'm just saying he talks a lot of crap anyway. What's the difference?
Who do we see? 6 minutes, next 6 minutes. Who do we see in NCAA championship? Are we?
I mean, I'm down to talk NCAA.
I haven't watched that much this year, so you go ahead.
Coming into this week, I would have said Georgia and Bama. But as I saw before I popped into the stream, it looked like Georgia was losing.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, they were down pretty big. Bama and Clemson. I think Bama's going to be there for sure. If Georgia did end up losing or does end up losing, that's going to hurt Notre Dame, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And if Notre Dame loses tonight to Miami, then I think their hopes are shot. It could very well be Bama and Clemson.
Could be. Could be. I haven't kept up with the college as much as I normally might this year. I haven't even. I think I've watched one Notre Dame game all year, but bear in mind that I'm a pretty busy guy this year. What with watching a lot of kids and stuff, so I don't get a lot of chance to do that.
That's a shame. Notre Dame's got a Heisman potential.
Yeah. Oh, I've been keeping up with them as far as stats and online and games won and lost, yada yada, that kind of thing. But I haven't been able to watch any, really. I'm lucky to be able to get away with watching the Colts game on Sunday.
Should be a good game tonight. Notre Dame and Miami. As it stands right now, Notre Dame would be in the playoffs, but I think if they lose this, and considering their only other loss was against Georgia by 1 point, last second touchdown, if they lose tonight, I believe their playoff shots will, or their playoff hopes will be shot.
Yeah. Mine says hashtag on Wisconsin.
I don't know how well Wisconsin has played this year. I'm not even sure they're ranked.
Not sure. Not sure. Monk says to keep an eye on Wisconsin.
They might be ranked then. I mean, you did have Ohio State and Penn State lose last week.
Well, let's see. Since I don't need the scores up anymore, let's just look and see what the rankings are real quick.
I don't really have faith in Notre Dame making the championship game.
Okay. Call it the AP Top 25 is Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame, Clemson, Oklahoma, and there's Wisconsin at number 6.
Oh, so they are ranked.
Miami, Florida, 7. TCU at 8. Washington at 9, and Auburn at 10.
I think Washington also lost this week.
What I'm looking at is showing them at 8 and 2. So, and then the rest of 25 is rounded out by Ohio State, Oklahoma State, Michigan State, UCF, USC, Penn State, Virginia Tech, Mississippi State, Washington State, Memphis, Michigan, South Florida, West Virginia, Iowa State, and Iowa. So yeah, and by the look of this, Wisconsin's is not. I mean, you got Alabama at 9 and 0, and Wisconsin's got a record of 10 and 0. So.
Wisconsin's undefeated.
Yeah. They're in
Wow.
there.
Kind of quietly undefeated.
Yeah. Because I don't really remember seeing them touted too much openly. I mean, like making a big splash, and we get all the Big Ten stuff around here. So
I haven't been able to follow it this year because I come home after work, try to get some sleep before the stream, but at some point you'd have thought I'd have heard because I typically follow college football pretty deeply. But I had no idea Wisconsin was undefeated. Good for them, though. I'd like to see somebody other than Ohio State, Michigan.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I've give up hoping on the Lee Corso days to come back for IU. So,
But yeah,
all right, chat. Anything else before we get out of here?
well, you word it like that, it's like we're in a hurry to get out of here.
Oh, no, no, no. I'm in no hurry. I just was trying to turn it back over to chat. But you're right. Think about it. It did sound bad. I didn't mean to make it sound that way. Thanks, Melissa. Said nothing. Melissa Carly said nothing for me. I enjoyed this, and a big shout out to Melissa. She's my newest patron on Patreon. Well, I'll say that straight.
All right. Patron on Patreon?
Yeah. And I'm not seeing anything pop up yet, but still
And
waiting. Good.
I mean, screw the Patreon. A female that likes football enjoyed the stream of me and you talking football.
True enough. True enough.
Shout out for that.
Let's see. Next 6 minutes is Baylor's having a crap season. 1-9 with a loss to Tech today. Yeah, that's not too good.
Has Baylor really done anything since RG3 though?
Oh, if they have, it sure hasn't stuck out in my mind.
I mean, I'm sure they'll get back there because that's how college football works. There's always that rotation.
And Christ says, I come from a long line of blue-collar men. I get you guys.
Well, right on.
So, and it says basically I need blood around so I can shoot puns at someone. We trade puns on Twitter all the time.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Melissa, he is my real life son, so he knows exactly what my puns are like.
And I hate puns. So the mixture of the two, like not only puns but dad puns.
Like seriously, dad puns. Oh. Okay. Well, if there's
you people wonder how I can live with myself being a Lions fan. This is how.
Because he's lived with me all these years.
I was made for this.
However, I will say that if you get the two of us together on something, like we've played a lot of MMOs together, and we have been known to make people cry in the chat. If you get us together, we do bounce off each other once in a while. And word of warning, do not play euchre against us or Hold'em.
Euchre's not even fair.
No, no. We've tried to lose at euchre before. So he's just a glutton for punishment, Melissa says. It makes sense that he's a Lions fan.
Nail on the head.
Can't argue with that one. All right. Binding says, stop J-kidding around.
If I didn't hate you before.
Which makes it really tough. I know where the J-kid comes from. I won't say. I'll leave that to him. It's been a long time nickname for him. But it makes it tough because his real life name starts with J, and you don't know how many times I've almost called him by his real name in this stream over the weeks.
The J Kid is a nickname from my grandpa.
Yeah, from my dad.
When I was younger. And I take it seriously enough that I have it printed on shoes. And
yep.
It's basically my brand. Without being famous enough for a brand.
All right. So, if there's not anything else, we have. I'm trying to struggle to see the. Well, dummy, I can just move my mouse and see the time. We've got 10 minutes. Little over. Yeah, Minding says, "You don't hate me, J Kid. You lion. Lion."
If my other phone worked, I would find a way to boot him from chat.
And then Corey comes in with J Kid. Tell him to mind his own business. Oh, Corey. And thank you,
I'm,
next 6 minutes.
I'm glad I
Thank you.
woke up for this.
Yeah. 777 subs. The bad part is it keeps bouncing back and forth. I've been up to as much as 782, and then I'll lose a couple game one, lose a couple more in game one. It just keeps bouncing around, giving me fits. But anyway, be that as it may, if there's not anything else, chat, I think we're going to draw this to a close. I'm getting pretty hungry. And J Kid has to get ready for work. So
I'm over all your pun BS anyway.
So thank you, chat, for showing up. As always, I keep saying it every week, and I'll say it again. I'm so happy to see the same people showing up every week. I appreciate except Minding. I appreciate the loyalty. I don't do this stream for notoriety. I don't do this stream for subs because it's not going to get that for me. I do it because we really enjoy it. Behind the scenes, all three of us, including Minding, have this conversation that we really love doing this. We look forward to it every week. And we look forward to seeing you guys. So thank you a bunch.
Like and share.
Yep. If you haven't done it already, like and share. And as always, get out of my yard.
Bye.